Masterclass, welcome to the workbench. Something a little bit different from yesterday. What I spoke about yesterday was I was going to convert a regular spray paint pressure pot into one that I can use for casting. I've just started playing with, no Bob, you can't go. Bob wants to go outside. He's a dog. If you're new to Woodworking Masterclass, and if you're new, welcome. No, sit down. Yeah, you can lie down there, lie down. So that's what I'm going to do. Just convert this budget pressure pot. I got this in Australia from Super Cheap Auto. It was under $200. And I've just started playing around with doing casting with epoxies and polyester resins, I think. This is the stuff I'm using, if I can find it. There you go. This is the epoxy that I'm using. And these are some colours. It's a translucent colour. So a little bit later on, I'll be doing some actual casting. I tried some casting without using a pressure pot, and I found that, yes, I'd much prefer to have a pressure pot. The reason being, it doesn't get rid of air bubbles. There's this conception out there that if you've got a pressure pot, it gets rid of air bubbles. No, it doesn't get rid of air bubbles. What it does, it compresses them until the epoxy or resin or whatever it is you're using hardens up, and then they can't expand. So that's the reason for pressure pot. I've done a couple of bowls and put epoxy in without a pressure pot and turned it, and been a little bit disappointed because there's been voids in there and it doesn't seem to get a good hold on the resin itself. I think, hang on, I'm getting feedback here. I'll just turn this speaker off because I shouldn't be getting that, but I am. There we go. Whoop. That's a bit better. I thought I was all organised, but apparently I wasn't, so there you go. And we'll go that one. There we go. All right, that's better. So this is a conversion, and it doesn't cost very much at all. A few little bits and pieces that you can pick up at a plumbing supply place, possibly a hardware shop, or anywhere that sells brass fittings. Here we go. Move this off the line. Now, there are other videos around. G'day, T-Bone, how are you, mate? Good to see you. There are other ones around, and there are different ways of converting pressure pots, but I've looked at what my needs are, and this is how I'm converting my pressure pot for what I'm doing. So, by all means, if there's a better way of doing it, please let me know. If there's a different way of doing it that suits you better, use that instead. Now, there's two things you're going to need. Either thread tape or liquid thread, what's that called? Thread seal. Depending on what you want to do with your pressure pot, has a strong bearing on if you go for taffy tape or liquid. If it's something you think down the track you might turn it back into a spray paint pressure pot and you're just going to convert it to try a couple of epoxy things, I would suggest using thread tape. If it's something, no, you're going to keep it purely for a pressure pot for doing epoxy and you're not going to be removing the fittings or changing anything, I'd use the liquid thread seal. For me, I'm not going to use this as a spray paint because I've got a different setup for spray painting. So I'm going to use thread seal, which means, unfortunately, we can't test this straight away. Because this is live, I'm going to have to wait a few hours for the thread seal to harden properly. But anyway, let's go. And I have loosened these nuts off, so I'm not struggling undoing them. First thing is get rid of the gun, because you won't be needing that. And you don't know, you might be able to sell it online or keep it because you might use something down the road, or you might have a mate that's got a spray pot and he wants a spare gun. So we don't use that anymore. Open it up. And this is your paint pickup pipe. So your paint's in there. The theory behind it is paint goes in here, air goes in here, goes down here, pressurises the pot, which then, because you've got pressure here, forces the paint up here, and your paint comes out this line here, which was the black line, and you've got a regulator on here which regulates the air going to the gun, and when the air goes out, it actually picks up the pressurised paint through a Venturi action and sprays out. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, but I am open to correction, but it really doesn't matter because we're not using it as a spray pot. So, first of all, take off the pickup pipe. And what I've done, I've got this plug here. So I said you could either use tape or use a liquid thread seal. For me, I think I'll use the liquid thread seal. And we might as well do it, whoops, do it all, hey. What's that, T-Bone? Happy Marty. Oh, Fat Tuesday. Well, there you go. Happy Marty to you too. Okay, we'll just put this on here. I was going to do this as a just a standalone video, but I really like doing things live because if we have mistakes, you get to see the mistakes, but more importantly, you get to see how to fix the mistakes. Okay, so that goes all the way around. And there's the fitting that this pipe came out of. Screw that into there. Whoops. This sticky stuff. Find a bit of rag. And tighten that up. You don't have to over tighten it because the thread seal is going to seal everything. And what I've done here, this is where the air actually goes in to the pot. Where are we? This hole here. So this is where the pickup pipe was. That's gone. So we've plugged that. I've got liquid thread seal on that. This one here, your air comes down and goes straight into the pot. Now what can happen if you've got some resin in there and it's fairly thick, you turn your air on hard, you're going to get a shot of air coming out there, which is going to go right in the middle of the resin. It might be okay, and it could, whoops, it could flatten out, but I wouldn't take the chance. So what I did was got a 90-degree fitting there, which has a thread on one side and is blank the other. But I actually put a hole all the way through. And then, I'm not going to worry about a thread tape on this. It just fits in there. So when it actually loads up with air, instead of the air coming straight down into your job, it will come to the sides and hopefully come down more evenly. So that's taken care of the inside. So we can put that back on. Now up to you entirely, because you've put a plug on the inside, if you don't want this fitting on for whatever reason, you can take that off because we've already sealed that on the inside with that plug. Let me just put this on. And where I'm... Now, this is what I do a little bit differently. I take this handle out. And again, you can set this up anyway. This is just what I find more practical. Take this gauge off. It's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle because you can't take that one off with that fitting in there because it'll hit the top of the business. And your pressure relief valve I take out. Now in this particular case, I've tested this one. This cracks at about 40 psi. I really want to run my tank at 50 psi. On the top, it does have a slot there that supposedly can screw in or screw out and regulate the cracking pressure. With this one, it doesn't. It is not moving. So what I did, I bought 2 new ones. I think they were all of $5 or something or other. And these cracking pressures are about 150 psi, which is way more than I need, but it will give me that range I want. And this one, if you remember, the gauge went in this side. I actually put this in this side because this is an item that can play up. I'm actually going to use thread tape on it because then if it doesn't work, I can easily pull it out. So saying, says he, looking for a thread tape, bit of thread. There we go. When you're putting thread tape on, always go the direction that the thread turns, because then when you thread it in, you're not going to undo the tape. So this screws in clockwise. I'm rolling the threading clockwise, and then when I put this in, it actually tightens the tape up. Again, you don't have to over tighten these things because they're brass. You will strip the thread or break the fitting if you're not careful. And it's got thread tape on it, so it's not really going to do anything horrible. Now, where the gauge was on that side, I now move that fitting over to this side. And for that, I think I'll use thread tape. Liquid thread. Because I might not be able to get it exactly where I want it, and if I'm using thread tape, sometimes it doesn't seal as well. Whereas this liquid stuff, if you half a thread out and you've got the thread seal on there, it will seal quite nicely. Screw that in, bring that around. So now I've got that hole pointing upwards. This one goes in there, and for that I'm going to use thread tape. So at the moment I've used basically 2 fittings. If your pressure relief valve works at the pressure you want, you don't have to replace it. It's just mine didn't, that's why I replaced that one. Put the gauge in. Now on this end, the air flows. It's got, I don't know if I can find it. Let's see if I can get this camera over. It's actually got a picture of where the air goes. So it goes in here and through this side. This side here I'm going to blank off. And for that, I've just got this blank cap with the screw thread. Put the tape on. So basically anything that is not going to be changed or can break, I'm using the liquid thread on. Anything that I might have to change at some later stage, I'm using the liquid thread. G'day Louise! I found my phone, did I tell you that? Oh, I'm happy. Okay, that's done, that's done, that's done. Now the only difference I do, if I can find it, is with the inlet fitting here, if I was using this pot in this shed, I would leave the inlet right there because my compressor is down here and my air line's down here, so I could just bring this up, put that on, and I'm away. But I'm going to be using this in the wood turning shed, which is up the front, and my air line actually comes down from the ceiling up there. So what I want to do for ease is I want my air inlet facing upwards. So this is something you can or may want to do or may not want to do, depending on where it is you're putting everything. I've got a ball cock here. Now that's just a little one-way valve. Hang on, let's see if we can, you can see through that, it's got a little valve that cuts off. That's to allow the air to flow in and out. And what I'll do is put that on there. That way I can have my air connected, but no air's going in the tank. Then I want air in, I just do that, which is a lot easier than grabbing your air line and playing around. Hope these, oh there you go. Okay, that's my switch there. Now I've got a 90-degree elbow. Again, brass. Put some tape on that. Doesn't matter what tape you, I like the blue or the pink. Not a big fan of the white, it's too thin. Okay, and we do one on the other elbow as well. Make sure you're clear, so your pathway for the air is not obstructed. And we'll spin that into here, like that. Have that pointing upwards. Screw my fitting onto that. And that is it. I'm not sure if that thread stuff's dry, but we'll give it a go and we'll see if it holds pressure. Can't remember which is on or off. There we go. All right, so at the moment we've got no pressure in there. You can hear it filling up. And that's, there you go. That's 50 psi in there. To release it, pull that off. Oh. Charge it back up. Oh, didn't want that to work. Where are we up to? There we go. And the reason I've got this here is it's much easier to release it like that, for me anyway, rather than to have to come on the inside and release it. So I just pull that from the outside, all the pressure's out. Might actually put a better ring on than that. Hello, my darling. Disconnect the airline. Got nothing on the gauge. Nothing on the gauge there. So hopefully, there we go. Done. One pressure pot conversion from a spray pressure pot into a casting pressure pot. So I said it was a quick video. I shall get back to you very, very soon. Hey, thanks for everyone that just popped in the chat room. This is a really quick stream, but that was it. I'll catch up with you later on. Thanks everyone for dropping in. Sorry I didn't talk to you. Oh, good evening from Texas. How are you, Gilbert, Brian, Ray, Louise, Six Knots, T-Bones? Thanks very much for watching, but that's just a quickie, how to convert a spray pot. This is Steve pulling the shed door down saying, remember to keep it sharp. More importantly, keep it safe. Look after yourself, be kind to each other, and I look forward to having you in the workshop at a workbench very, very soon. Bye for now.